so both of you know we need to go.
For now, it's just pretend rooms marked by mine tape and empty buildings in a mock village. But in a few weeks, these Ukrainian troops will return to use this urban warfare training for real against the Russians. The truth, of course, is that these soldiers are returning to a battlefield that is becoming increasingly difficult for Ukraine. Shortages of men, of ammunition and of vital weaponry like frontline air defences mean it's arguably the most precarious moment of the war so far. Under martial law, every sector of Ukraine is being subsumed into the military. These men are a mixture of National Guard, Ukraine's public order force, and state border guards. They're here for 5 weeks, training to become platoon sergeants. It's intense, the training designed to replicate as far as possible what they'll face for real on the front line.
What we instill in all of our training is a thing called graduated inoculation. So what we do is we introduce the threat or the persistent threat, and then we make sure that that is then increasingly present in their training. So on one day it might be introduced to them as a standalone item such as the drone, and then over the course of the training for the next 5 weeks, that presence will continually increase so that they're constantly learning these new skills under the threat of the drone, and it's getting more and more.
Russia's lost an estimated 3,000 tanks in the war and 300,000 men killed or injured. Vladislav is 28 and says the Russian soldiers they face vary in quality.
Depends on the battle and the place we're fighting for. Sometimes the Russians can send their conscripts without any experience. We fought a whole Russian platoon of conscripts once. They had no idea how to fight and just didn't know what to do when my unit attacked them with 2 machine guns.
More than 34,000 Ukrainian troops have now passed through Op Interflex. Most of the trainers are British, but they're supplemented by personnel from 9 other nations, including Australia, Canada and Sweden. This is a two-way process, with the instructors also learning from these experienced Ukrainian troops about how the Russians fight.
When I've been in combat, I've not seen that many Russian kamikaze drones. They mainly use reconnaissance ones for their artillery, but they also have a lot of old Soviet artillery rounds which aren't accurate. The detonators don't work, but they've got a lot of them. They can send 50 soldiers to get eliminated, then they send 50 more. They don't even count their casualties. It doesn't matter how many they lose, they've still got more.
As well as learning to fight in trenches and buildings, this course covers the rules of war, battlefield first aid and cyber warfare. And for you guys to actually teach guys like this, who you know are going to go off back to war in just a matter of weeks, that's quite sobering for you too, I imagine.
It is, and it's unbelievably meaningful for us all because it's real. There's a real tangible output to our training delivery, and so we know that the positive effects we're having can have a positive effect on their people, their individuals and their units back in Ukraine. But yeah, genuinely, when you meet them all for the first time and listen to their stories, it's very sobering.
While this marks the 2-year anniversary of Russia's invasion, for many Ukrainians this war began a decade ago with Vladimir Putin's annexing of Crimea and the Donbass. Even so, 2024 is predicted to be the toughest year of the conflict so far. Russian offensives, ammunition shortages and the uncertainty of a US presidential election, all making the lessons learned here vital to Ukraine's survival. Simon Newton, Forces News, South West England. Thanks for watching. For more from Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.